the lesson that I belonged out there. Even if I'm the only one, I belong out there. And just to build on that belief in myself, I was better than them.
Monica's story was the first time like I got to see as a 13, 14-year-old where my ambition wasn't punished.
The mentality, the mindset, the attitude, the confidence of it all, of the character Monica, I think that that's just so essential.
And I looked at myself and how many times I was turned down because I didn't have a big resume. But we know the reality of this industry is that people who look like me, it's not about talent, it's about a lack of opportunity.
I was already like, okay, what am I going to create? What are the storylines? What does this look like?
I'd be curious to know if you could freeze one frame from the entire film and hang it in a sports history museum, what shot would it be?
Oh my God.
Hi, Esther. Hi, Gina. I'm Sarah Hood. I am co-founder of Mavericks Media. I'm super excited about when Cassandra and I had this conversation about the drop and the cultural impact of the film. For me, I'm 38. This is like every millennial's dream to be having this conversation in this moment. And so I wanted to say thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Gina and Esther, this goes for both of you. But Gina first, I'd be curious to know what does it actually mean to you to trust Esther with a film, a film's legacy that's had such a long lasting cultural impact?
hmm I mean, it really is everything. I've been so protective over these 25 years. So much of this was my story when I wrote it, and then the beauty of it that it's become so many people's story, both men and women. And I just always wanted to honor that. I've never done a sequel. I've never, done a TV show from it. I just wanted to protect that thing that meant so much to people. But after 25 years, it felt like it was time. I'd never had merchandise. I'd never allowed the license to be used, and but it just felt like time. And in thinking about who I wanted to collaborate with, I had I just felt like I kept seeing Esther's work. I kept seeing Playa Society stuff. I kept wanting to wear it. I bought it. It's just so dope. The aesthetic is just special and it stands out. And she's a Black woman. I wanted to collaborate that way. And when I reached out, I didn't know, was she going to say nah or was she going to be interested? And it was such an incredible phone call to be able to, or it was a Zoom, to be able to talk to Esther, know that she loved the film and was inspired by the film. It's just been a beautiful collaboration. And in that first call, I knew absolutely I could trust her because she respected it and loved it in the way that I did.
Esther, walk me through what that conversation was like and what you were thinking in that moment when Gina says, hey, I've never done this before and I'm ready now.
It's one of those like unreal moments, right? And I'm kind of like, is this even a question? Like, do I want to? Like, I was born for this, Gina. So it was just immediate, I think the athlete in me kicked in and it was like, it's time to go. Like, let's get it in, let's get it done. So usually that's how my mind works is like when you recognize how special and important something is, we're gonna celebrate after we get this work done, right? So let's focus on, for me, is delivering. I was already like, okay, what am I going to create? What are the storylines? What does this look like? That's immediately where I go. I want to have something, I want to put something out there that we're going to celebrate, when we wrap this up. So, immediate excitement, but then it's like, right to work and definitely wanting to make sure that we do the story justice, that we do the film justice, that I don't take that trust for granted. And so that's who I am, and that's how I kind of pour into projects like this. And projects like this are so rare, where you're
Yeah.
just like, man, I get to collaborate in a way that is so special and so important to me. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna show up and show out and do all of those things that, I feel like I train for with everything that I do. And so it's just exciting.
Yeah, yeah, what is the saying? Like if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Exactly.
Gina, I think about where I was in 2000. I played basketball. I was such a tomboy. It was me and the boys on the yard. And I remember watching the film, I was probably like 13 or 14. And for athletes and for young girls in particular, Monica's story was the first time like I got to see as a 13, 14-year-old where my ambition wasn't punished or
Mm,
it wasn't softened. And I'm curious to know, how did your experience with ambition or rejection shape the tone and the emotional discipline of her character?
I love that. Yeah, I give my parents all props. They put me in sports and my two older sisters in sports when we were, I guess I was 5. It started with soccer, and I remember back then there were no girls teams, so I had to play with boys. And I remember those first couple games. These boys would kick me and punch me. They didn't want me out there. And I would go to the sideline and cry. And I remember my parents saying, like, go back out there and show them who you are. And to have that lesson that young, to not have parents that wrap me in a hug and said, it's okay, honey, let's leave. They're like, no, get back out there. And that has just stayed with me. The lesson that I belonged out there, even if I'm the only one, I belong out there, and just to build on that belief in myself, I was better than them. And I just maintained that swagger, and that's what sports gives you, especially as a girl, to learn those beautiful lessons that ambition is good, that it's okay to want to be the best, to leave everything out on the floor, um, like outwork everybody. These are things that too few girls are taught.
Yeah.
And so to be able to pour that into Monica and put her up on screen for other girls to see and be inspired by and aspire to be, that's been the most beautiful thing I think about this whole journey.
Hmm. Esther, as an athlete, as a founder, as someone who is in a space that is incredibly male dominated, and considering what Gina just said and the character for Monica, how did that portray in your life, and how were you able to put that into your projects, knowing the cultural responsibility that whether you like it or not, there's so much pressure there, or do you even feel the pressure?
Um, I mean, I think, all of that goes hand in hand. I learned the lesson from Monica before I ever even started playing sports. I was late to sports. I always say I was an art nerd first. I was a kid that walked around with my sketchbook. I was always sketching, always drawing. I wanted to be a fashion designer. Um, and when Love and Basketball came out, I was 10. I didn't start playing basketball until I was 15. I was a
Really?
sophomore in high school. And so I kind of traded in my sketchbook for basketball. I was like, I want to get a Division I scholarship. I want to play in college. And so I locked in, probably not even realizing that I learned all of this from
Mhm.
my favorite movie. And so it was kind of like this development of a mentality. That's why representation is so important and so essential. And then, being able to now look back and say, wow, now it all came together in this wild way that I could have never imagined. Like you couldn't even create this, this kind of storyline or, this journey that I've just kind of followed and let the universe take its course. And so just being able to lean into, I think the mentality, the mindset, the attitude, the confidence of it all, of the character Monica. I think that that's just so essential. And that's really what everything is rooted in at the end of the day.
Esther, what part of the film's legacy surprised you the most now versus in 2000?
I don't know. I mean, the soundtrack still hits so hard. I mean,
Or what do the kids do? Which one of these is it?
yes. The soundtrack hits so hard. That part, I mean, is crazy to me. How much I still love every line that Monica says. So many lines from the film, but every line Monica says, it still hits. It's just a fun movie to watch. It's a fun movie to watch with your family. The nostalgia of it. Yeah, I think it's timeless, honestly.
Gina, this next question is more for my own curiosity,
Mhm.
as a film nerd. The cinematography in Love and Basketball has like a softness. It's intimate. It's athletic grit that we don't really see today. Um,
Mhm.
what was a visual or technical choice that you thought back then for pe that people never talk about? And what is the reason you feel the film still resonates today?
Mhm. I mean, I wanted the audience to feel like they were watching real life. This in some ways is a fairy tale. But I wanted it to feel real and tangible, that that woman feels real and I can be like her. So it was really approaching it in a grounded way. It was that vision also carried over to the actors, and knowing that I wanted an audience to believe that they could really ball. I mean, Sanaa famously never touched a basketball before she got this film and trained for 6 months. Omar trained hard as well, but I never wanted to have somebody shoot and then I cut away to the ball going in the basket because that's so corny to me because they didn't make it, so
Right.
they had to make the shots. So there was so much tied into that. And then I think one of the big moments is the game that's from Monica's point of view, from an athlete's point of view in high school, where the camera was Monica, and that hadn't been done before. So figuring out how we could shoot that and make it feel real. It was just fun as it was my first film, so I kind of didn't have any rules. I wasn't locked into anything. I just wanted to play and put my love of the game, my passion for the game, and hope that an audience can feel it. So how can I use the camera to do that?
Mm. And then the next one, Gina, you've paved the way. I know for me, one of the things that I love to do is also be behind the camera and film and do shorts and just as a hobby, but you paved the way for so many women behind the camera. What is something that you now demand on set that you didn't feel empowered to ask for in your earlier career?
Oh, that's a great question. My sets now, I can easily say at least. I'd say 90% of my HODs, my head of departments, are women and people of color. And I know back when I first started, I felt like, oh, let me get people who've got long resumes because I'm new and they can show me things. Um, and as I went through, I started to realize there's so much talent out there. And I looked at myself and how many times I was turned down because I didn't have a big resume. But we know the reality of this industry is that people who look like me, it's not about talent, it's about a lack of opportunity. So after loving basketball, to start to really look and be intentional about who I want to surround myself, who I want to give opportunities to. And it isn't a politically correct thing when you walk my set and you see a ton of women and people of color. It's like these are talented people who just haven't had an opportunity. They make me better. They've made me better throughout my career. And knowing I can demand that, insist on that, is the thing I think I'm most proud of.
Mm. Esther, how did you all partner and choose the scenes and parts of the film that would be showcased on the merch itself that is coming out on December 5th, which we want the people to go grab and go purchase? Um, how did you all choose which pieces and even the material and what items
Mhm.
would be fitting of the legacy of the film?
Yeah.
What was the creative process? I'm sorry.
I think that immediately that all started with committing to and envisioning the 4 quarters of the film. So this is drop one. There is more to come. And so I love that too, because it's like, okay, now we don't have to do everything all at once. Let's give this time. Let's bake. Let's cook on the concepts and the ideas and what this is going to look like over time. And I think stories, when you approach storytelling that way, it just gets better over time. So that's kind of the idea and concept here. Drop one. First quarter is all about ball better than you, which is a strong statement from the beginning of the film. And so just leaning into that energy and you know, kind of defining each quarter a little bit here. There's so many quotes and statements to
I
choose
know,
from,
right?
right?
Me
So
too.
it's gonna get harder. It's gonna get harder. But listening to the community for me is listening to Gina. I love the more stories that I hear, and even just more storytelling from her on the process and how things, you know, things that I've never heard before about her journey. And so just weaving things in that feel authentic and feel real and feel connected. I think that that's always where I want to start from with intentionality and authenticity, because I feel like that's the best way to connect to the consumer and to just community and people in general. So that's woven into everything.
What do you want people to receive from this drop?
Yeah. I think one of the first things I wrote down was I want this to feel like love. And
Mm.
so, really, what that means, universally. I want, a hoodie to feel like, I want to wear this hoodie all the time. I don't want to take it off. Um, so, just elements like that. I want people to be excited, when you put on the ball better than you t-shirt. I want that
I can't
confidence,
wait.
feel that
Can't
confidence from
wait.
Monica, all of those elements. And so, just to feel connected to the energy of it all, that's really what, we tried to harness, that energy, of Monica as a character, as a film overall. And so, there's a lot of different aspects to it, but love, confidence, all of those things. And maybe Gina might have some things to add to that, but
Gina, what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I wanted stuff that I wanted to wear, so it was beautiful to be able to, like, I on set, I rock beanies like every day. I'm like, Esther, I want a beanie, and Esther's created such a cool remix of the heart symbol from the film. And so that's kind of the thing that carries over through all of the merchandise. And so to ask her for that, and then she answers and creates something that I know I get to wear. I'm still trying to get my onesie because I wear onesies on set also, the basketball onesie. But it's also that I'm new to this, and so to be able to just kind of sit at the feet of Esther, who's done this and done this on such a high level, and learn from her and listen to her in terms of what she thinks is going to hit, and being open to hearing my thoughts as well. It's just been a really inspiring collaboration, and as she said, we're going to be listening to the audience, listening to the fans and people out there, what they want to see, what they want to rock on the back or front. What do they want to say to the world? Because that's a thing like I choose my t-shirts, my hoodies, like how do I feel? What do I want to project?
Mm.
And that clothes can do that in the same way that a film can. I love that. So I'm really excited by that. And we're just going to keep growing and learning and just hopefully make this collection something super, super dope.
Gina, I'd be curious to know if you could freeze one frame from the entire film and hang it in a sports history museum, what shot would it be?
Oh my God. I wish I had a heads up on that. That's a great question. Um, wow.
let me take notes.
I know, right?
You know what? I I have something up on my wall, and it is a freeze frame of the two of them, Monica and Quincy, hugging at the end of the game when he said double or nothing.
Hmm.
And she's come back and they're holding each other. Like when I walk into my office, that's what I see. And it evokes so much for me. Fight and love and, fighting for that perfect love and your first love. And that it wasn't easy, that there were struggles through it, but you believed. That's what it says to me. So I'm gonna do that. And it's on a basketball court. So
Yep.
love that.
And then last question. I know I've gone way over my time. Um, Gina, I know that you may not be able to tell us anything, and I did not check with PR when I asked this next question. But is there anything juicy that you can share with us about your upcoming film, Children of Blood and Bones?
Um, what I'll share is that the cast is like the 96 Bulls. Like it's so stacked. We literally have the best of the best of us in it, and everybody brought their A game and everybody rocked it. And so I'm just super excited for the world to see the story and us in a genre that we've never seen ourselves in before.
I have so many more questions, but I want to be respectful of your time,
Now
both
I
of
gotta
your
get back in
time.
the edit room, keep finishing
I know, right? Because never mind, I was about to ask a question, but I don't want to get in trouble. I want to make sure I'm invited back.
it. Yeah.
Esther, actually, since they haven't kicked me off yet, Esther, what can people expect from, like, what differentiates the four quarters, the four different drops from one another?
Um,
Because why should I get all of them?
yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of differentiation from the style of pieces. You're going to see limited edition pieces where you might not have a chance if you're not quick enough to get it. There's going to be some pieces that feel, a little bit more evergreen, that will last, in terms of, your opportunity to purchase. And so there's going to be a mix. We love to kind of play on the moment, even when the drops are going to happen. And so just leaning into a lot of that, listening to the community, and so delivering in that way. So when we do the first drop and everybody's like, "Oh, we want this, we want that," we're gonna listen. So keep an eye out for what's next. It might be something that's on your wish list and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of interaction and intentionality. So yeah, definitely keep your eyes open.
I'm excited. I can't wait for that crop top. I'm going to be in the gym talking
Yeah.
so much crap with it
I've
We
been
got
doing my crunches, seeing if I'm ready for it.
Right. I don't know if I got an ab, but I got like two rolls. I kind of look like abs. I'm
It's gonna be
excited for
cute.
people
It's
to
gonna be
see.
cute.
I can't wait. Thank you so, so, so much for your time, and I
Thank you.
can't wait for the launch. I'm really excited for the drop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your questions.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.